In just 12 months, the price of some ground coffee at major American retailers has quietly climbed by as much as 80%. No headlines, no warnings, just a slow burn at the checkout line that's turning your morning habit into a math problem. The kind of problem where the numbers don't make sense anymore. How does a 3-pound can that used to cost under 10 bucks now flirt with 20? How can a simple grocery run feel like a luxury spree when all you grabbed was your usual brew? Some are whispering about tariffs, others point to shipping costs or bean shortages. But what if the truth is something you're not supposed to notice? What if the brands you trusted are slowly pulling the rug without ever making a sound? They change the price, they change the blend, and somehow they're still calling it the same coffee. Stay with us. Because in this video, we're going to expose which coffees have quietly doubled, which two are still safe to buy, and what it all means for your wallet. Number 1. Maxwell House Original Roast. Something strange is happening on the coffee aisle. The can that millions of Americans once grabbed without thinking now makes people freeze. Not because it is out of stock, but because of the number on the price tag. The familiar blue can that used to sit safely under $13 is now creeping past $21. Quietly, relentlessly. It is not a luxury brand. It is not some trendy new roast. It is the same can that sat in every pantry from the 70s through the pandemic. And yet that same can is now draining more from a wallet that already feels lighter each month. Economists call it price realignment. Shoppers call it disbelief. Because when a household brand nearly doubles in less than a year, disbelief feels more honest than explanation. The official reports talk about higher import fees, about transportation costs, about droughts in Brazil and El Niño storms. But the numbers still do not add up. A pound of green coffee beans that sold for $2 last year now costs more than $3. Roasters claim margins have vanished. Retailers quietly adjust shelves to fit new barcodes and new prices. And the customer, the person just trying to make a morning cup that tastes the same, stands there doing mental math. It's the kind of math that turns comfort into tension. The kind that makes you stare at the shelf and wonder whether you should buy it now or wait until it jumps again next month. People online are posting their receipts in disbelief. One video shows a Walmart customer holding that same can, whispering the new price like it's a secret no one wants to hear. $21 for coffee, they mutter, as if saying it out loud might make it go back down. Some claim the blend has changed. Others swear the taste is off, that the aroma feels thinner, flatter, cheaper. Maybe it's memory playing tricks. Maybe it's formulation. Or maybe it's the quiet erosion of quality that sneaks in when profit margins shrink. For decades, this brand lived on the promise of stability. Now it's the face of uncertainty. Every can feels like a reminder that even the simplest staples can be pulled out of reach. When coffee, one of the most basic grocery items in the American cart, starts edging toward the price of meat, people start to panic in subtle ways. They stop buying large cans. They stretch what they have. They buy instant mixes just to fill the gap. What's remarkable is how fast the shift happened. Within 12 months, data from major retailers shows increases of 60 to 80% across popular roast sizes. Not in gourmet shops, but in chain stores where everyday shoppers go for deals. The jump was steady, consistent, and largely ignored until the totals hit the checkout screen. Older customers feel it the most. Many live on fixed incomes and coffee is not a luxury to them. Its structure, a sense of normalcy. Each new price hike chips away at that comfort. Online comment sections are filled with phrases like, "I guess I'll drink hot water now, and even my cheap coffee isn't cheap anymore." Behind the humor lies exhaustion, the slow kind that builds when every familiar product asks for more. What nobody talks about is how quietly it happens. No major announcement, no new formula press release. Just a slow reprint of labels, a new UPC, and a few cents added each quarter, until disbelief becomes acceptance. It's not a scandal, it's a strategy. This is what economists call price creep. Consumers rarely notice until it crosses a psychological line, and then outrage spreads like wildfire. That moment has already arrived for this brand. Search the forums, the videos, the grocery hashtags. People are waking up to how quickly the coffee they trusted has slipped into the premium tier without ever changing its packaging. So, what does that mean for everyone watching? It means the ground beneath the grocery aisle is shifting faster than anyone admits. If a brand this large can double its price and still fill shelves, what hope do smaller roasters have to stay affordable? Something feels off, and deep down, most shoppers sense it. They can smell it when they open the new can. They can taste it when the flavor burns sharper than before. They can feel it in their budget when the total at the register crosses $20 and keeps going. Maxwell House was never supposed to be a warning sign, but that's exactly what it's become, a mirror reflecting what happens when everyday products quietly step out of reach while pretending nothing has changed. And this is only the beginning. Because if this is what one brand has done in a single year, what about the others waiting just behind it on the shelf? Stay with us. The numbers ahead may surprise you even more. Number 2, Kirkland Signature 3. If you're still grabbing the big red tub without checking the price, it might be time to slow down. What used to be a no-brainer buy at the end of the Costco aisle has quietly turned into one of the most confusing price jumps on the shelf. The 3-pound Kirkland canister, once considered the safety net of budget coffee, is now dancing around $19 and climbing. It wasn't long ago that this tub sat comfortably under $11. That familiar bulk-size packaging made it feel dependable, immune to inflation. It wasn't flashy. It didn't brag. It just got the job done, and for millions of households, that was enough. Now the number printed on the tag tells a different story. Increases of 60 to 70% are showing up in cart totals across the country. No sign, no announcement, just quiet shifts that hit the register harder every time. You can almost hear the unspoken agreement breaking. Kirkland was never supposed to climb this fast. That brand meant something: consistency, reliability, value. When even that starts slipping, people begin to wonder what's left to trust. Many loyal shoppers online are expressing the same disbelief. The comments are filled with screenshots, price comparisons, and a creeping tone of anxiety. A Reddit thread from just a few weeks ago went viral after someone posted a receipt showing the new price of their go-to Kirkland coffee. The top reply read only one word: unreal. What's strange is how quickly this has begun to feel normal. Costco shoppers known for bulk buying and savvy habits are now hesitating in the coffee aisle. Some are skipping the tub entirely and reaching for smaller bags. Others are cutting their brew strength just to stretch the weeks. The timing makes it worse. With food prices climbing across every category, the shock isn't just in the number. It's in the way this particular item always felt safe. For retirees, for large families, for anyone watching their grocery budget like a hawk, this shift feels personal. And let's not ignore the whispers around quality. Several users have pointed out subtle changes: less aroma, weaker body, and a flavor that some describe as duller than before. No official statement has confirmed a reformulation, but in times like these, trust doesn't need proof to crack. It just needs doubt. Kirkland's 3-pound roast is more than a bulk product. For many, it represents the last stronghold of affordable caffeine. When that fortress starts to erode, it sends ripples far beyond the shelf. Some are already calling this the tipping point, not just for coffee prices, but for the illusion that warehouse clubs are immune to the forces that hit supermarkets. Because when your once safe bet starts to feel like a gamble, the whole game changes. This isn't just about a brand. It's about the shrinking space between necessity and luxury. The uncomfortable realization that even when you buy in bulk, you're not always saving, and that every familiar product you count on might be preparing its next silent jump. So before you toss that tub into your cart again, take a second look. Not at the label, but at the pattern. It's not just Kirkland, it's a signal, and we're only 2 coffees in. Number 3, Kirkland Signature Medium Roast Coffee. When prices began to rise and brands started cutting corners, people expected Kirkland to stand firm. Not perfect, not premium, but predictable. That's what built the trust. But instead of shielding shoppers, this medium roast feels like it quietly stepped away and left them on their own. At just under $15, it still looks reasonable. That's the trick. It still wears the price of a bargain while slipping into a new bracket without saying a word. The increase didn't scream. It crept. From just over $10 to $14.99 in under 9 months while shoppers were busy watching eggs and meat spike. But here's where it stings. People are not just talking about the cost. They're talking about what's inside the can. Something about the taste isn't landing the way it used to. Reddit threads call it flat, stale, and less bold than before. Some say the grind looks finer, others say it brews too weak unless they double the scoop. No label change, no apology. Just a familiar package that somehow feels unfamiliar once you crack the lid. For years, this roast earned quiet loyalty from working-class shoppers, retirees, and anyone who wanted decent coffee without the gourmet markup. Now even those loyal voices sound unsure. Comments are shifting from recommendations to warnings. What's haunting about this shift is how it targets the people who pay the closest attention. The ones checking every price tag. The ones who know what they can use to weigh what it used to smell like and how far one scoop used to go. You start to wonder if the value ever really existed or if it was just the illusion of it. Because when a product that prided itself on being steady, start slipping in both taste and price, that illusion fades fast. The word medium on the label used to mean balance. Now it sounds more like a compromise. Not strong enough for those who need real flavor. Not cheap enough for those counting pennies. What this roast represents is more than just coffee. It's the turning point when even private label brands stop playing defense. When they start inching toward the same tactics, everyone else uses quieter blends, slower hikes, hoping nobody looks too closely. Some shoppers are already stepping back. Others hold on, hoping the next batch tastes better. But the trust is fraying, and once that slips, it's hard to get back. Because this isn't just about taste. It's about the sense that someone turned the dial without permission. That what felt like a safe choice is slowly being redefined without your input. And maybe that's the part that stings the most. Not that the price went up, but that it happened without warning, without accountability, and without care for the people who stuck with it through every inflation headline. The Kirkland medium roast didn't need to be fancy. It just needed to stay honest. But something changed. And now that change is brewing more than just coffee. It's brewing doubt. And the next brand on this list might push that even further. Number 4, Kirkland Signature 100% Colombian coffee. They used to say 100% Colombian meant something, that it stood for quality, for clarity, for truth in the cup. But now those same words feel more like a cover than a commitment. Because this roast, once praised for its clean flavor and straight-from-source image, is starting to taste more like a business move than a brew. At over $23 per 3-pound, it's becoming harder to tell if you're paying for coffee or paying to remember what coffee used to feel like. This isn't a slow, gentle climb. It's a full leap. Just last summer, the same can hovered around $14. That's nearly a $10 difference in less than a year. But what's more unsettling isn't the price, it's the silence. No press release, no acknowledgement. Just a new number slapped on an old label expecting no one to blink. You'd think with that kind of jump there'd be a reason worth sharing. A rare harvest, a new supply chain, a promise of higher standards. Instead, we're left with a question mark, and a taste that some say doesn't match the badge it wears. Whispers across shopper forums and video reviews have picked up speed. The grind feels finer. The strength seems inconsistent. And the once bold aroma muted. The kind of muted that makes you stare into your mug and wonder what changed. Or worse, if something was taken away. And when it comes to Colombian coffee, expectations run deep. That label isn't decoration, it's a standard. One that shoppers paid for willingly because it meant something. But when that label remains while the experience shifts, it's no longer reassurance. It's bait. More than 400 reviews in the past 6 months echo the same concerns, weaker than before. Used to be my favorite, not anymore. They changed something. And the price hikes just salt in the wound. Some suspect the cost surge is tied to bean shortages, weather impacts, or export taxes. Others believe it's simply an opportunistic markup riding the wave of overall inflation. Either way, the result is the same. A product that used to serve as a safe, satisfying buy has now drifted into a space that feels unsteady and overpriced. And for shoppers who rely on bulk buys to make their dollar stretch, that shift hits hard. Because this wasn't supposed to be a premium choice. It was supposed to be the coffee you could trust. The label didn't promise the world. It just promised to be real. Now the line between real and rebranded is blurring. The math doesn't track. The taste doesn't hold. And the silence from the top is deafening. The part that hurts the most. It didn't need to be this way. This coffee had loyalty, presence, and a place in households across the country. But instead of holding that ground, it joined the quiet race to higher margins and thinner blends. And if even the Colombian roast starts to fold under pressure, what's left, what's real? What still deserves your trust? The next brand on this list might not have the same legacy, but its price tag tells a story you won't want to miss. Keep watching. The fall isn't over yet. Number 5, Tim Hortons Original Blend Medium Roast Ground Coffee. Tariffs were supposed to protect. That's what people were told. But here we are watching a coffee that once cost under $10 now edge past $17, and nobody's quite sure what it's protecting anymore. If anything, it's protected price tags from staying put. The original blend from Tim Hortons was never meant to break the bank. It came with the quiet promise of Canadian simplicity poured into American homes for decades. But lately, that promise feels broken. Not by the brand itself, but by a chain of decisions that made everyday imports feel like luxury goods. Ground coffee that crosses the border now carries invisible weight, increased fees, shifting trade policies, unpredictable customs costs. And who pays for it? Not the importers, not the corporations, the people, the ones who just want a medium roast that doesn't taste like compromise. And the price hike hasn't gone unnoticed. From late 2024 to today, the cost of a standard-size bag has soared by more than 70% in some regions. Reviews, tweets, and Reddit threads echo a shared frustration. It's not even gourmet tastes thinner now. Same bag, double the cost. At this point, the comments aren't complaints, they're warnings. Because what's happening here isn't isolated. It's a ripple. One that starts with a tax and ends with an entire aisle that feels different. And let's talk about what people are tasting. The original blend used to carry a bold, rounded flavor that felt dependable. Lately, some loyal drinkers say it's more bitter, less balanced, and oddly hollow. A bag that used to make 30 full-bodied pots now seems to stretch thin at 25. That shift matters. Especially for families trying to make every cup count. Especially for older consumers who don't switch brands easily and feel betrayed when what they trusted no longer feels the same. And maybe that's what hurts the most. It's not just the dollars. It's the erosion of familiarity. You walk into the same store, pick up the same bag, pay almost double, and drink something that feels off. Like the brand is still here, but the soul of it got lost somewhere at the border. What's worse is the silence. No updates, no new recipe. Just a quiet pivot into pricing territory that was once reserved for small batch artisanal blends. And Tim Hortons, for all its legacy, now stands in that awkward space where value used to live. You can feel it in the shift of consumer behavior. People who once bought 2 bags now buy one. Some are trading down. Others are stepping away altogether, leaving behind a roast they never imagined they'd question. The landscape has changed. And not because people asked for better beans, but because systems were rearranged, and the effects trickled down into morning routines and grocery budgets. And this isn't about panic. It's about paying attention. Because if tariffs can twist something as basic as a cup of coffee, what else is already changing while nobody's looking? Tim Hortons didn't start the fire, but right now it's part of the smoke. And if you think this is the worst it gets, wait until you see what happens to the brands still holding their breath. If these 5 price jumps made you feel like you're losing control of your own grocery bill, brace yourself because the next ones haven't exploded yet, but they're ticking. Number 1. Peet's Coffee Big Bang Medium Roast. If you think this is just another coffee pitch, think again. Peet's Big Bang is standing on the edge of a price cliff right now. And if you don't act soon, what looks like a deal today could be gone tomorrow. The 18-ounce bag currently lists around $11.72 at Walmart. For a brand known for quality that may feel reasonable now, but the momentum behind coffee inflation suggests it won't stay there long. Imagine walking into your favorite store next season and seeing that same bag priced at $15 or $16. That's not fantasy. That's the trajectory dozens of specialty roasters are quietly riding. While house brands claw upward from their bargain baselines, Big Bang still carries that aura of better roast, better flavor, better value. It's one of the few in that upper mid-tier not yet fully dragged into the high-price zone. Loyal customers online describe Peet's Big Bang as punchy, clean, reliable, not extravagant, not over the top. Just the kind of brew that said you cared enough to pick something above run-of-the-mill bags. They hold on because they believe in what they taste. That trust is its greatest strength now, and also a potential weak point if the brand lets price shifts outrun quality shifts. There are warnings already. Some reviewers note subtle aromas that don't linger like before, or a finish that fades a bit sooner. Others say the bean density feels lighter. None of those reports scream catastrophe. But in a climate where every detail counts, whispers like that tend to gather strength. For households that stretch budgets over 30-40 items, the jump from $11.70 to $14.90 or higher makes a noticeable dent. Not just in dollars, but in morale. It's the kind of thing that makes you debate whether to downgrade your roast or skip a splurge. And for consumers watching every grocery tag, that sliding line between affordable specialty and premium casualty is terrifyingly thin. Why make the move now with Big Bang? Because it's one of the few coffee bags still tethered to a perceptible ceiling. Because it has brand equity and roast credibility that costlier blends don't. Because if the coffee market shifts again, as it already has, you'll regret waiting. This is the window where you still somewhat control your coffee destiny. When you toss that bag into your cart today, you're not just buying coffee, you're buying a hedge. A small buffer against the kind of squeeze that turns pantry staples into luxury bets. And when others begin to scramble, you'll already hold something that still feels like value. So if your favorite roasts have jumped too much, if the standard names have stretched past comfortable, consider this. Peet's Big Bang might be the last roast standing under your price horizon. Grab it now while it still speaks of restraint more than regret. Because soon, prices will tell their own stories, and you want one that starts at a good buy, not a shocked receipt. Number 2. Great value 100% Arabica Colombian coffee. Nobody's watching this one, and that's exactly why it matters. While the spotlight stays locked on rising name brands, Great Value's 100% Arabica Colombian coffee is quietly holding the line, for now. Sitting around $8.98 for a 32-ounce can, it's one of the few blends left that hasn't cracked the double-digit wall, and that's starting to feel less like strategy and more like a countdown. Behind the shelves, commodity prices are rising, Colombian bean costs are squeezing, transport is less predictable, and yet this roast hasn't budged yet. Not because it's immune, but because it's late to the avalanche, and late means vulnerable. The value here isn't just in the price. It's in the flavor staying shockingly steady compared to its budget peers. Reviews mention a bold body, smooth pour, and no strange aftertaste. For a house brand that's rare. For this price point, it's almost unheard of. But here's where it gets tense. Other Great Value products have already crept upward in price over the last 6 months. Pasta, eggs, oils. The pattern is consistent. Coffee is just the one piece that hasn't made the jump yet, and that makes it a target. The longer it stays low, the sharper the eventual spike feels. For households, shopping on fixed incomes, for seniors trying to stretch retirement checks, this isn't just a grocery item, it's a staple. Something that makes mornings manageable. Something that reminds them not everything has been taken away. But when that $8.98 becomes $10.90 or $12.25, that fragile balance breaks. Online forums show the tension. Some users are already bulk buying cans, stashing them in pantries, calling it the last reliable roast. Others are suspicious, wondering if a quality drop will come before the price spike does. And that fear, it's valid. Because even if the blend holds today, pressure has a way of changing everything. The true power of this roast isn't its label, it's the window it represents. A brief, flickering moment where a decent cup of Colombian Arabica doesn't ask you to make a financial trade-off. A moment that will pass. If your coffee shelf has seen too many price tags turn bitter, this might be the last mild surprise left. A holdout in a world where value doesn't mean cheap anymore. It means you didn't wait too long. It means you recognized the quiet warning signs and acted before the rush. So whether you're filling your cart or filling your stockpile, this roast isn't just a deal. It's a signal. A hint that time is running out on affordable blends that still taste like what they claim to be. Grab it now while it still feels like a smart choice and not a desperate one. Because very soon this label might change, not in words but in numbers. Prices didn't double overnight, they crept. Silently. Predictably. And now your morning cup is the proof. Some roasts betrayed trust. Some quietly shrank in quality. And just a few are still holding out for now. But nothing in this aisle is safe anymore. Not from inflation, not from shortcuts, not from the next price tag update. If today's list made you angry, confused, or just tired of being blindsided, good. That means you're still paying attention. Stock what still makes sense. Avoid what's already gone too far. And never forget, once the price jumps, it rarely ever comes back down. The next wave is already building. And the question is, will you catch it, or will it crash into you? Stay sharp, stay stocked, stay ahead.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.